Now, last week on Friday, Beyond Meat, like many other companies, started to drop a lot again. And especially Beyond Meat if you compared it to a lot of other companies out there. And one of the reasons was probably that Impossible recently made a deal with Kroger, the giant retail chain in the US. And that could be construed as a negative sign when it comes to Beyond Meat. So, what I want to explore is it only a bad sign? Is it only negative? Or are there some positive aspects to it? Now, if you're new to the channel, then welcome. If you're not, then welcome back. And as always, feel free to smash that like button to help spread the video to more people. If you're not part of the channel yet, you want to subscribe to it. If you want to have at least 5 updates a week when it comes to plant-based companies like Beyond Meat, Tattoo Chef, Oatly, the Very Good Food Company, to name a few. And guys, feel free to join our free Discord channel where we talk about these companies on a daily basis, and you get 5 morning briefings on what's going on in the market. All right, guys, thank you very much. So on Friday, we found out that Kroger and Impossible are going to team up to actually start creating new meat substitutes, which could be, according to some people, a threat to Beyond Meat. Now, the interesting part here is that it's not going to be Impossible's ordinary product, not the branded products. They're going to start creating a private label. And that is why Credit Suisse actually does see this as a threat to Beyond Meat. As it states here, quote, "We view this test as a threat to Beyond Meat because it demonstrates the willingness of a big competitor to margin down into co-branded private label products in order to maximize the reach of its products." Now, obviously, it also states here that when this actually happens, their meat alternatives will be open to maybe more consumers out there because the prices will be cheaper than probably the ordinary Beyond Meat and Impossible's product. Now, we actually don't know so much about the details. That we found out from Impossible that this is a confirmed partnership, but they declined to give any more details, as we're used to with these companies. Now, Kroger, from a revenue perspective, is actually US largest chain of supermarkets, right? Retail stores. Right now, they have about 2,868 stores in the whole of the US, right? So obviously, this could be seen as a huge deal for Impossible and maybe to some extent a threat to Beyond. But what I find interesting here, and what's a bit surprising, is that Kroger actually they actually do have a lot of Beyond Meat products already. So obviously it will, in that store or those chains, be a direct competition with Beyond Meat in that way. And actually, when you look at Impossible, their own brand, their original brand, right? They're selling their products to at least four of those products are there. So it is interesting that Impossible is actually okay with selling a private label product in the same stores where they have the ordinary ones. So it does seem that they're really willing to get their products out there. So in that way, it could be seen as a negative sign for Beyond Meat that's already had pretty bad things happening to them now in the last year or so. And what could be considered bad is that Impossible is probably the only other brand out there that actually creates a more authentic plant-based burger, right? That is as close to the real thing as possible. So if they're going to create a new product here with Kroger, a private label one, right? And it's cheaper and people actually really enjoy them and kind of feel that they're comparable to Beyond Meat's original products, right? And maybe also Impossible's original product, well, they might actually start buying more of them, especially if the price is going to be cheaper. And considering what's going on around the world now with prices of food going up more and more, the latest report is that since January, food prices has basically gone up about 3 to 4%. And if we go back a year, they've actually gone up around 26 to 27%. So obviously this is something that people would consider when buying and trying new plant-based food. Now, I think the good thing for Beyond Meat and other plant-based companies out there is that this could give the opportunity for more people to try plant-based food and getting interested, right? And if people are more keen to trying plant-based food, then having the biggest or largest brand out there, which is Beyond Meat, they are the #1 brand in plant-based food in the US by far, then it could be a logical step that they would move on and try Beyond Meat as well. And the good thing here too for Beyond Meat to some extent could be that Impossible, if they're actually trading down now to private label deals, well, that could mean, or probably will mean, that their margins will be very low. They won't actually get a lot of money from this deal. And also, I think we need to keep in mind that for the last year or so, they have actually discounted their products about 20% of the price. And they've been doing that for a long time. So I'm wondering about the overall margins overall when compared to Beyond Meat. Is this a sign that they might actually be desperate? That's what I'm wondering. But I do know, I really like Pat Brown, the CEO. He's not related to Ethan Brown. That his whole perspective of this is to get as many people out there to change their ways, to start eating plant-based, for sustainability, for the animals, for our health, just like Ethan Brown, right? This might be his strategy to do it. But the question is, what is the cost going to be for Impossible in the long term? And we can't find that out right now because it's a private company. It hasn't IPO'd, so we don't actually know what kind of revenue they have. And also what I find interesting here is that they are a pretty strong brand, not comparatively to Beyond as of yet, but they are a pretty strong brand. And going private label might not help that, right? Because if people start buying their product, which could be good for them to some extent very, very long term, if people don't know what brand they are, well, what will that mean for the overall company? And as we know, branding is everything when it comes to these kind of businesses. And I know many of us have been wondering for a long time, what kind of revenue could they be having? Well, I don't think they're close to Beyond Meat. And the reason is, when we look at this page, we can't find any other information about how many places, how many grocery stores and restaurants that have not more updated information on that anyhow. But we have this from Yahoo Finance when they did an interview with them back in September. And here it states that number of stores and restaurants containing Impossible products is more than 20,000 stores and nearly 40,000 restaurants. All right. And we know that more restaurants is good, right? It's going to get people to be interested, hopefully, and go start buying them in the retail stores. But when it comes to the margins, usually the retail stores is going to be the better choice. But about 60,000 locations. And right now, Beyond Meat has about, with restaurants and retails, about 120 to 130,000. So that would tell us that Beyond Meat is by far the bigger brand here. So we might not need to worry anyhow. But again, it could be considered a threat if they're going to be massively more inexpensive than Beyond Meat, right? But it is interesting that they're going to have all of these products at Kroger now, right? Impossible's own original brand, Beyond Meat's brand, and this new version that they're going to create with Impossible. So it's going to be interesting to see what that means. But overall, I'm hoping this could be a good sign that more and more people are going to start eating more plant-based. And that's going to mean that they're going to be interested in trying other plant-based meats out there. And Beyond being the #1 brand might get a good push from that. But again, that's going to be long-term. And that's what we're all about on this channel, right? Guys, let me know down in the comments. What do you think about this? Is this a bad sign for Beyond Meat, or is it a good sign? Let me know. All right, that was it for today. I truly hope you got a lot of value. If you did, like always, smash that like button. And if you want to keep getting more information like this, subscribe, don't forget that bell button, and join our free Discord channel. All right, guys, remember, this was not financial advice, just my own thoughts and opinions. Hope to see you tomorrow, and peace out.